Black Girl Magic Volume 5, Magical NDA. The theme song for this volume of the story is called Fantasy Conspiracy. History you never knew reveals itself, and the story is coming to an epic conclusion. Plus, this original comic book story is a fantastic way for viewers/subscribers to learn character development, character arc, story structure, the character's superpowers and abilities, and lots more. Listen, learn, enjoy. Hollymeed/First Lady Productions/Rooftop. So, where's the magic entertainment and the epic music? Asked Willa. Orbis, play epic battle rock playlist, said Gordith. As the music played, Gordith waved her hands, thus Janet and Mark were magically untied. As the party crowd cheered and applauded, Janet gestured towards Harmony that she and Mark were okay. Magic, 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 shouted the party crowd. My turn, said Jeremy aka Thou as he quickly removed magic dust from his pocket. Next, Thou tossed the magic dust up in the air and the magic dust formed into a phoenix bird. Bravo, shouted the party crowd. May I? Asked Merlin Genesis. Thou gave Merlin Genesis a big thumbs up. Merlin Genesis waved his hand, thus the phoenix bird burst into dozens of baby phoenix birds. Next, the baby phoenix birds flew amongst the party crowd, they danced, made funny faces, etc. Suddenly, the baby phoenix birds burst into magic dust, the magic dust flew over and back into Thou's pocket. The party crowd laughed and applauded. What's all this? Asked Rudy Rochester as he walked through the Rooftop's doors with the biggest smile on his face. Surprise, said Willa. I sense a celebration of some sort, said Merlin Future as he curiously gazed deep into Rudy and Willa's eyes. Flashback/Battle Fitness Center/Arena/Battle Fitness Competition Finals. All competitors wore ADC's, Advanced Designer costumes. With slightly higher scores in agility, strength, battle gear, and battle moves, Rudy aka Spartan defeated Terrell Tyson aka Brickhouse. I knew you had this, said Willa dressed in her ADCs as the anti-hero called Haru. The guy is no competition, said Spartan. Don't forget this, said Brickhouse as he held up his free round card that he'd won during the beginning of the competition. We shall meet again, said Spartan with his head held high in the air. No one can stop the unstoppables, said Haru in a stern, sexy voice. The sporadic Spartan and the fearless Haru, said Spartan as he passionately gazed deep into Haru's eyes. Indeed, said Haru's as she lovingly kissed Spartan's lips. Flash forward/First Lady Productions/Rooftop. This is more like a get-together, said Willa with a cute smile on her face. Precisely, said Merlin Future with a wicked smirk on his face as he winked over towards Rudy and Willa. What happened to the magic? Asked Rudy. More magic it is, said Merlin Future as he clapped his hand thus, the party crowd now all wore ADCs. Thus, the party crowd cheered, laughed, and applauded as they ran around amongst themselves with the biggest smile on their faces as they adored each other's ADCs. It's an all-out magic show, said Mora as she and Harmony walked over towards Janet and Mark. Candace, whispered Vormita as she recognized Candace aka Gordith from the fantasy writing competition. You took my fantasy writing ideas, yet you see me as the villain, said Gordith as she clutched the magical locket attached to her necklace. You wrote fantasy fiction about who's the fairest of them all. I wrote my fantasy fiction, I turned it into a book called The Sisterain, and I dedicated my book to my younger sisters, said Vormita. Share 3 secrets in your book and I will free your younger sisters from my locket, said Gordith. Free my sisters and I'll share 3 secrets in my book, said Vormita. I release you from this magical locket, shouted Gordith as she clutched the locket attached to her necklace. Thus, Nevah and Nomorr appeared directly in front of Vormita. Spectacular, shouted Rudy as the party crowd went crazy. All good, said Vormita. We're okay, said Nevah. Life is magical, said Nomorr. Your book is a scam, a fraud with no text, pictures, etc., etc., said Gordith. Actually, it's called an inclusor, said Nevah. What's an inclusor? Asked Gordith. A magical book written for a select group, said Nomorr. Really, said Gordith as she curiously gazed deep into Merlin Future's eyes. You quit your magic training just before magical books, said Merlin Future. Things got weird, said Gordith as she quickly turned away from Merlin Future. I fell in love, said Merlin Future. They don't make magicians the way they used to, said Merlin Genesis. The party crowd chuckled. Magical books, said Gordith with a wicked smirk on her face. Flashback / City of Magiville. Today's magical training is on the topic of, said thou as he held up a book with the biggest smile on his face. Something to do with books without any text or pictures on the front cover, said Nevah. The comedic tone in your voice makes me laugh, said thou as he handed the magical book to Nevah. I see nothing, said Nevah as she skimmed through the book. Try this on, said thou as he handed Nevah and Nomorr each a pair of magical eyeglasses. Cool, said Nevah as she read the magical text hidden in the book. What the heck, asked Nomorr as she glanced all around the room at the magical text written all over the walls. I'm dying to hear how all this works, said Nevah. The book is an inclusor, said thou. Inclusor, said Nevah. Which is, said Nomorr. Inclusors are magical books written only for a select group, said thou. Hence the root word, inclusive, said Nevah. So, you must be included or a part of the group to see the hidden text, said Nomorr. There are inclusor authors' copies and inclusor readers' copies, said thou. So, you need magical eyeglasses to see the hidden text, said Nevah. The eyeglasses contain a magical lens called Galliarch, said thou. Galliarch is such a science-fictional, fantasy name, said Nomorr as she and Nevah chuckled with laughter. With the use of Galliarchs, magical people see hidden text inserted in books, on the exterior of buildings, walls, various surfaces, or perhaps written in the skies above, etc., said thou. Galliarchs as in plural, said Nevah. The most popular Galliarchs are eyeglasses, sunshades, magnifying glasses, etc., said thou. There's variety in magic, said Nomorr. You can't just offer one type, said Nevah with the biggest smile on her face. There's even a Galliarch app on the magical website, said thou. Wait, there's a magical website, said Nomorr. Indeed, said thou. So, if magical people can use Galliarchs to read inclusors, then, said Nevah. Then, what's the point of creating inclusors, asked Nomorr. The knowledge gained from an inclusor falls under the magical secrecy law, said thou. Oh, wow, said Nevah. Thou shalt not tell, nor ask. However, if thou were asked, then thou could give a yes, no, maybe. Roundabout responses, said thou. So, the person asking must decipher the responses for themselves, said Nomorr. We shall continue magical book training tomorrow, said thou. Flash / Hollymeed / First Lady Productions / Rooftop. I kept my end of the bargain, said Gordith as she seriously gazed deep into Vormita's eyes. We got this, said Nevah. Don't confuse your social media fans with your friends and family, said Nomorr. Meaning, stop reaching out to them, said Nevah. You might be in a totally different tax bracket, so all your fans can do is listen to you, said Nomorr. Go on, said Gordith with her eyes wide open as she eagerly wanted to hear more about this historian. Everyone around you has a business plan, said Nevah. Translation. Be cautious of others hanging around you, said Nomorr. They could be trying to take over the success you've built, said Nevah. Next, said Gordith. Don't manifest your own demons, said Nomorr. Which simply means, said Nevah. Stay positive and positive energy will come your way, said Nomorr. Can you elaborate on the word demons? Asked Merlin Future with a wicked gleam in his eyes. Creatures, beasts, fallen angels, evil spirits, etc., said Nevah. Interesting book, said Gordith. Would you care for a raspberry and licorice elixir to process all this? Asked Merlin Future. Orbus, take us to the Fruity Tooty Tavern, said Gordith. Hang tight, said Orbus as he quickly surrounded Gordith and Merlin Future on the rooftop. Next, Orbus flew up and across the skies of Hollymeed. As everyone on the rooftop cheered and applauded, Merlin Genesis's magical device detected strange weather patterns. Out of nowhere, whispered Merlin Genesis as he gazed at the video images on his magical device of diamond-shaped portals now opened in the skies above the city of Hollymeed. City of Hollymeed. Out of the diamond-shaped portals came a creature named Aisha, a beast named Jugori, a fallen angel named Sarah, and an evil spirit named Marcy Hurt Thing. The sisters of the Sistorian army, along with their newest recruit i.e., Nonjabulo Brown aka Miss Merchant, battled all forms of wickedness as they too protected the city of Hollymeed. Gordith aka Candace wrote an enclosure called The Forestry. Candace had a book party, and she gave out 30 enclosure reader copies. I ask you to join me and take center stage. Be beautiful and bold. The ladies of the Forestry shall never fold, said Candace as she proudly stood before the ladies. Becky Barlow interview with Nevah and Nomorr / She's Hot live on Shortstream all in one. Becky is back, shouted Nevah with the biggest smile on her face. That's right, shouted Becky. She's live on Shortstream all in one, said Nomorr. You took some time off, said Nevah. Yes, I did, said Becky. Is everything alright? Asked Nomorr. I'm good, said Becky. Okay, said Nevah. Now, let's get into this interview, said Becky. She's ready, said Nevah. She's hot, said Nomorr as they all shared the loudest laughter. My biggest question is, how did you lose the book? Asked Becky. It was her doing, said Nevah as she pointed over towards her sister Nomorr. It was an honest mistake, said Nomorr. Okay, said Becky. I was busy with something else, so I wish to not see this book right now, said Nomorr. The wish came true, said Nevah. Poof, gone, said Nomorr. Then we went looking for it, said Nevah. We had a tracker app, said Nomorr. So, that's when all this fantasy stuff happened, said Becky. Yup, said Nomorr. The rest is history, said Nevah. The history, they don't know, they don't need to know, said Nomorr. Magical NDA. Whispered Nevah. We're saying too much, said Nomorr. That's why I had to leave the last time, said Becky. Oops, whispered Nomorr. The interview is over, y'all, shouted Nevah as they all laughed with the biggest smiles on their faces. It was Black Girl Magic chatting with you two beautiful young ladies, said Becky. Thank you, said Nomorr. Thanks for having us on, said Nevah. We've got lots of fantastic interviews coming soon. So, stay tuned to the Sci-Fi Fantasy channel. Thanks for watching. She's hot. Here, live on Shortstream all in one, said Becky Barlow. The end. For now. Did you enjoy Black Girl Magic Volume 5? Don't forget to leave your fantastic comments in the comments section. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. Don't forget to click the like button, and if you enjoyed the video, simply share it on your social media. If you'd like to keep up to date with the epic comic book content on this channel, just click the bell notification icon. Just a reminder. More fantastic comic book stories coming soon. Thanks for watching.